Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today for our new knowledge session. This is our series of professional development workshops to support business owners, nonprofits, and citizens in not only Washington County, but around the Commonwealth. My name is Billy Roberts with Locus, and if you're not familiar with us, we are a community development financial institution and providing lending, investing, and community innovation services. We're happy to partner with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator, and the town of Abingdon to present this business and organization skill development. This program was started in 2014 by our dear Sandy Ratliff in combination with the others to support the Washington County Business Challenge competitors and has become one of the oldest running business training programs in Virginia. Today's session is titled Using LinkedIn for Business Networking, and I'm really excited. I like this topic. We'll be recording this session for training and educational purposes. Cindy would like, you can, when you have questions throughout this session today, go ahead and put those in the chat. I'll help moderate those for Cindy, and we'll make sure to get your questions answered as we move through. We are going to keep everybody muted just so that we can stay within our 1 hour goal, but please utilize the chat and interact with us. So let's welcome Cindy Hagman. She's the LinkedIn trainer and marketing and social media consultant. Cindy Hagman has been training business professionals and college students how to use LinkedIn since 2008. She has an extensive background in marketing, business development, fundraising, social media, and corporate training. She is currently semi-retired and living on a hobby farm in Greenville, Tennessee, with her husband and multiple farm animals. Be sure to connect with her on LinkedIn. I did that this morning. Welcome, Cindy, and thank you for spending time with us today.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Billy. And thank you, Kathy and Jean, for having me here again. It's been a while. So we're going to jump right in here. This is going to go quick. And again, like Billy said, if you have questions, just put them in there and we'll move along. The best way, I'm sharing my screen with you, and my screen is my LinkedIn profile. But we're going to just move through. Did you get the worksheet that was emailed out to you today at 11:45? If you don't have it in front of you, you may check your emails because everybody should have gotten it. And if you got it, this is a great way. If you have access to print it out, it's even better because then you can make your notes right on it. But at least look at it because we're going to be following this guideline. And so anyway, let's get started. So when you first log into LinkedIn, you go into your feed page. And I'm going to refresh mine right now. This has been sitting for a little while. And then it is just like any other social media page. It's going to have all your feeds on there from the things that you follow, the people that you follow, et cetera, et cetera. You can go in here. So it's one thing a lot of people aren't familiar with, that it always sorts by top. And what you can do is sort by recent. You have to manually do this every time, but it will actually update it to the most recent posts on your feed, which I find to be better than, it seems like sometimes you just see the same things over and over. So the next thing we're going to do is when you log on to LinkedIn, and if you're new at LinkedIn, especially, I want you to make sure that you have reviewed and really looked at your privacy settings. So what I want to do is show you a little bit of how to do that. We're not going to go to it too much, but right here where your picture is, you're going to click on it and you're going to go into settings and privacy. When you go into that, it brings up a whole new window and allows you to go in and change and modify, turn things off, all kinds of stuff, like even what you show for profile pictures, who you want to see things. People also view, you can sync your calendar. I don't necessarily like the sync contacts because it can get a little bit confusing, but I do have a paid account. I did want to give you that disclosure on here. So I can see things more than other people can. It is something that if you want to talk to me about that, you can I can go over some things with you about what I know about a paid account. Whether it's right for you or not, I don't know. That would be up to you, obviously, to decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, or, it can be expensive. I do know that. Your sign-in and security is always good, of course. What email, what phone number, changing your password, your visibility, I find it to be very, very important in what you want. So in a paid account, you can do things like put it on a private mode, meaning that I could go and look at other people's accounts, but it comes up as a private. No one knows that it's me looking at it necessarily. That's something that one of the reasons I do it is because I do research for other companies at times, and they'll ask me to research and go in, and LinkedIn is a wonderful, wonderful platform to do research on. So I like to stay in the private mode because of that. But that's only an option if you have a paid account. You just have to go through here one at a time and click on them and decide what you want people to see. Like I don't want people to know when I'm active on social media ever. So that's one thing that I always turn off. It's just a safety thing. I've got share profile updates with my network off, but typically, if someone is looking for a job or someone is got a promotion, you would probably want to turn that on, because those are the things that get blasted out to the people in your network that say, hey, so-and-so just got a promotion, or so-and-so just got a new job. So it's definitely up to you, however you want. Here's your privacy. You have to go through here and figure out what works for you. You can also change it. What works for you right now may not be what works for you later, especially if you're looking for a job right now. You may want everything turned on so you can see everything. Once you find a job, might be a little bit different. You got advertising data. This is where you can go in and choose your connections, that your data about that, your groups that you have, education. There's a lot of stuff in here about ads that you can modify too. Seems like LinkedIn has really jumped on the bandwagon with ads, and I guess it's because it's basically a free profile. And then here's your notifications. What exactly do you want to be notified about in LinkedIn? That's something that you have to, you really need to do on your own. And then, once you get all that set, then things will be a lot better for you. I have a lot of people that complain to me because they got onto LinkedIn and everything defaults to a certain thing, and they get all these notifications, and they get all this email and stuff that they don't want. So what you want to do is go in there and fine tune that to make it work for you. So again, we are, and look at here, Kyle just popped right up here. And Kyle's on this call right now with us, by the way. So this is great. And he's right here on my news feed. So I'm going to go in here and like this. And what's nice about this too, when you go in here, I'd like people to be active on LinkedIn. So I'm going to actually, give him a thumbs up on this one. Well, maybe I will. Let me just say, awesome. So easy to do things like this. This is part of being active and engaged on LinkedIn, is just having everybody, liking the posts that you see out there, just like any other account. But sometimes on LinkedIn, people stand back and they're a little bit afraid to like or repost things. And I think if it's related to business, or it's people that you know and you trust, that you always should be engaged with them. So while we're here, we're just going to talk. This is your home tab. This is your network tab. When you go into this, you can manage your pending invitations if you have any, and you can manage your network from here too. You've got your connections, you've got your followers, you've got groups, events, pages, newsletters, and here's your hashtag. So hashtags is relatively new within LinkedIn. You can go in here and put in hashtags that you want to follow, and then they'll come up when you do that. So these are all part of part of some of the newer things that LinkedIn's doing. Here's your jobs. If someone's looking for a job, you can go in here, and they've got a great search capability and things that you can look for. You also can apply right here on LinkedIn. That's fairly new. And I would say about 5 years ago that people were complaining to me a lot about this part about the job search, is that they never heard from anybody. They didn't know if it actually went anywhere. They didn't know, how reliable it was. After the pandemic, this has really picked up, and a lot of people are getting hired through LinkedIn. So I don't know what changed, or if it just became something people, started using more. And here's your messaging feature. And, you get messages from people, and we can, message them right back, which is great. And I also encourage you, if you're on this call, if you want to connect with me, that's fine. I will, accept it. Especially if you send me a little message and say, hey, I was in your workshop. And then if you want me to look at your LinkedIn profile, I'll be happy to look at it and give you some feedback on it. If you just want it, to keep in touch, that's fine too. So, and then you've got your notifications here. So your notifications are, again, on your feed, but it's all things that you follow. And this is a great way. So here's my husband right here, that just popped up. So, he commented on a post that I already liked, which is interesting. So, it pops up on here. But the other thing I wanted to show you is down here, the birthday wishes. So you can say, it's birthday. But, if you are out here networking, business networking, you want every opportunity to get in front of people, go through these notifications and really look at them, because, you can wish people a happy birthday on here. It'll also be work anniversaries. You can say congratulations to people when they start a new job. Those are important. Here's another one, say congrats. It's feeding this right to you. You don't even have to really do the research if you're connected. And it's just an easy way to do that light touch with people. And I think it's important when you're doing business networking to always do that light touch, whether you're in, for-profit or not-for-profit work. This is all important to keep up. So okay, so the next I'm assuming someone from this group. So Elizabeth, thank you, and I'll accept it right now. Nice to have you with us, Elizabeth. Okay, so now we're going to go into my actual profile. And the way you do that is you get back, you can click on your name, you can click on your picture. So this is my actual profile. And we're going to start right here at the top. If you do not have a photo or something up here, this is something that's really important. So if you work for a company, you can put the company logo up there. You can create something yourself if you have access to something like Canva. Canva is great for helping with things like this. Obviously, you just click the little, the little pencil and get going with it, and crop your picture, put it in there. This is a photo that I actually took myself here at my house, and then I just put a quote over it in Canva. You can do something like that. You can also go in and create things on your own. You can change the photo, you can do filters. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. But do something there that will bring attention to your profile. That's the important part. If you work for a company, I see a lot of people that have their company logo on there. It looks really nice. And some marketing companies, like when I used to work at Eastman, that was one of my things that I did, was I would design these for the different departments to post, and then we would change them out seasonally too, which was nice. And then we're going to go into your profile picture. Your profile picture does not have to be a professional headshot anymore, but if you can make it something that kind of draws attention to you, that says, hey, this is me. If you do a standard headshot, that's fine. It actually is, but I think it's okay to be a little bit more informal these days, just depending upon what you do.
Hey, Cindy, we have a question in the chat from Liz, and she'd like to know how much time each day do you spend on LinkedIn?
Okay.
And do you have a tip for prioritizing that time spent in the
That's an excellent question. So when I was really doing business development, I would spend probably an hour to 2 hours each day on LinkedIn. Now that was when I was diving into stuff and I was, really, really working it hard. Um, some When I would back off a little bit, I would go on like twice a week or 3 times a week and put out 30 minutes, just schedule time to go on there, look through things. And but it's really depends on what you want to get out of it. Obviously, the more time you spend on it, the more you're going to get out of it, the more you're going to learn. You've got to go in there and click buttons, and you got to go in there and connect with people. And that's not going to happen if you're not on it, obviously. So when I first started on LinkedIn, I would probably spend an hour to 2 hours every single day. And really, dove in there and got business development and got started with things, connected with people. So this is one of the things that I would do. I would go to a networking event, collect business cards, bring them back, connect with people on LinkedIn, send them a little message, and then try to meet with them for coffee or lunch or something to follow up with them. That was a really good way for me to utilize this platform. It was really easy. And if it was someone who was out of the area, but I still wanted to connect with them, I would send them a message. And so we would connect professionally, and we wouldn't necessarily be able to meet for coffee, but we at least would keep the dialogue open. Okay, good question. All right, so now we're going to go into your header, your contact information here up at the top. And what I want you to do is think about how you want to be known in the business community. So you've got your name.
I'm sorry. I
Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to, this is a good question. Jean asked, how about having 2 LinkedIn accounts? One for the company you work for and maybe a personal one. Would you recommend that?
Well, yeah. So those are totally different things. So your business should have a company profile, a business profile, and then you would have an individual profile. And they have to be set up differently, and you'll have to go in to figure out all the mechanisms for that. But yes, definitely do that. But they're not the same profile, but you do connect them because you connect. Let me go down here and I'll show you. When you go into, like, see right here, the Milligan or the, I connected to their business profile and their logo comes up. And so yes, you definitely would need I highly suggest that if you don't have a business profile, you need to have one, and then connect it to your personal. Good question. Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna have your name, and then under here, the second line there is your professional headline. And one reason, if you look at mine, I don't just have like LinkedIn consultant. I have several different things in here. This is a very searchable SEO line right here. And I say it's valuable real estate. And so what I tell you people to go in and utilize that, which is why I have the little upright slashes connecting mine. You can go in and play with it and just kind of see what works on that line for you. And if you don't want to do it the same way I did it with the slashes, that's fine. But I just think that looks clean, and you're not putting commas in there. You're not making it all one word. This is just what works for me, and I think it looks better. Also, these are the terms, the LinkedIn trainer, job coach, marketing, that I want to be known for, and those are very searchable. And when people search in Google or on LinkedIn for those things, my profile will come up because it's optimized. And so that's important. So when you go in, you get your name, you got your primary position, and then you just fill in right down the road here, all the way down. So if you don't want to put in your, if you don't want things shown, you can click and say, take things out. You can customize all of this, which this is all part of getting to know what you can do behind the scenes. So just do it. Also, I'm not really sure exactly what you can do with a free account. So some of this may not be available. So when you play around with it, keep that in mind too. But as you look at someone's account, there's certain things that you'll see right away. This open to button. So if you're looking for a job, or if you're hiring someone, this is a great place to do it. Or if you're providing services that someone else can use, if you have a marketing firm, you can click on this and you can put on there what services you can offer to your clients. When you want to add a section to your profile, you go in here and you just click all these things and you add these different sections, which is really what LinkedIn is made up about, is all these different sections. When you want to add, they've got this is brand new, and a custom button on here. So, this is, you can visit your store, you can visit your website, view your portfolio. So say you have a separate portfolio you want people to view, click it on there, or a blog, book an appointment, view my newsletter. There's a lot of things on here that were not here until recently.
Yeah, that is, I like that. That's a new thing. There's also a question. Let's had a good question. How important is the verification check? That is a good question.
Okay. I don't know how important it really is. When I saw it come up not too long ago, I thought, I'm going to play around with this and see exactly what it is. So what I did was just verify that I am who I am. And I just had to go through a few steps. I mean, if you want people to connect with you, nowadays we all have to be cautious about who we connect with. And if I connect with someone and I don't see this, it doesn't mean that's not who they are. It just means that they haven't gone through the steps. But I think it's nice, a nice feature. I don't know, I would like to see it on other social media platforms as well, but if you do it, I think it's a good thing. That's a good question. So this more button over here is a good one too. So send profile and a message. I've done this many, many, many times, especially when I'm working for another company and they hire me to come in and do some research or to find certain people. I will just click this and send this profile to people in a message, and the whole profile will go to somebody and they can look at it. Instead of me having to, do a hyperlink or, send it that way, I can just do it that way. You can also save it as a PDF. And then this is just a little bit of, a synopsis of, what this person is. And then this is what she was talking about with the verification. I actually verified my account through this, the government ID thing. Certainly not necessary, but it's just a nice feature. Okay, so do we have any other questions right now? Okay, we'll move on.
Yeah, you good.
We're good. Okay. Yeah, so now we're going to move on. And these are just some things that I can see from my analytics, and probably just because I have it private to me, so no one, can see, but it's nice. You can, I have had 31 profile views. I've got, these impressions, and here's like the analytics of, different things that are kind of showing up. That's just when you're really trying to grow your profile in your brand. These are things that you'll want to look at. Okay, so now let's go on to the summary or the about section. I want to tell you that this is probably the most important part of your whole profile. So take time to write something. This is who you are, what you're about, what you can provide. You can put keywords in there. I don't think I've mentioned keywords yet, but keywords are things that help people find, all of these are keywords right here. Keywords. So except maybe the hobby farm owner or their 5 rescue dogs. When you write your about section, you want to get down to the nitty gritty, kind of about who you are, what you're about, who you want to be in front of. This is your brand right here. So write it. I did not write this with AI. I teach LinkedIn to MBA students at Milligan University, and a lot of them write it with AI, but then when they have to go in to make corrections. I'm not saying don't do it, but don't just put it out there after you write it with that. And just go in there and make sure that it's written the way you want it, and write it in first person. That's another thing that I see often, is that people write it in third person and they'll put like Cindy is a blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's odd when you're reading something about someone else and they're not even talking about themselves. They're not owning it. They're saying it's more like she did this instead of I did this. So own it and do it. And if, you know, if you write something up and you want to send it to me to look at, I'll be happy to look at it for you and give you some feedback on it. It's not a problem at all. You see these little things right here where it'll say things like top skills. This is all related to your skills and expertise down here. And we'll go over that in just a second. But because you can actually, this is new where they actually allow you now to associate some of those skills with these different sections. Oh, one thing, let me go back up here real quick. I want to go back to the contact. So I want to talk about this. This is my URL, and I have a unique URL, and you should too, for LinkedIn. You just click on this, and right here, your profile. There's another way to get to this too that's a little easier than this, but it's right over here. If you do not have just your name, then you need to you need to change that. And you just click on here, and then see, mine is just Cindy Hagman, and you know, it's linkedin.com, you know, Cindy Hagman. When you signed up for LinkedIn, it gave you linkedin.com with your name with a whole bunch of letters and numbers. You know, back out of that and just try to put your name in if you have a name that is kind of unique. Obviously, it's only one person can have that name on LinkedIn. You might have to put a middle initial. You might have to put some credentials, you know, play with it a little bit, but that's really important. Why is that important? Because then you can take that URL and put it on your resume. You can put it at the bottom of your email signature. I mean, it looks very professional. You don't have to do a tiny URL, or you don't have to have the one with all the letters or numbers. It looks great. And that's what you know, you want to look professional, and that's all part of networking with other people. Every time you send out an email to someone, or, you know, connect with someone and you send them an email, make sure that that type of stuff is on the bottom of your email signature. People can easily click on that. And in LinkedIn, it does allow you to see who's looked at your profile too. And that's always nice too, because then you know that connection that you made, you know, they're actually looking at your profile. Whether you're looking for a job or you're just networking, doesn't even matter. The one and the same. You know, you can put media in here now. I don't know how many people actually know about this feature, but you can actually, I threw some things in here a while ago, but you can resort them. You can do features. You can add things to them. You can, you know, add a link. You can add media. So it's really, they're doing a lot to try to help you. You might think, why would I use that? You know, if there was, you know, if there was an opportunity for you where you were, you know, doing something. So if someone's a, you know, graphic designer, when I teach students, a lot of them, I tell them to put that kind of stuff in there. Or if they were honored at something, tell them to put that in there. It's a nice way to show people who you are, and it's right, you know, right in front of them. They don't even have to look for it. Okay.
Hi, Cindy. Just want to let you know that Elizabeth asked a question. If it's a business account, should the URL be the company name or your own name?
If it's a business account, it has to be, I don't know if you can actually change, that's a good question, but when you set up a business account, I don't know if you have the option to change the URL. Because you set it up separately. It's not set up as a personal profile. It's set up under a business account, and it has different restrictions on it. And that's a whole other class that maybe we should do a class on setting up business accounts. So that would be, it would not be it would be under the business for a business account. So two separate things. Okay, so now we're going to go down to your experience section, and those are the jobs that you've had. And this is another thing that I see that actually kind of drives me crazy when people do this, is they'll just put the name of the company. Let's use one of these, for instance. They'll just use like a company that they've worked for. They don't put anything else in here. All of this is very, very valuable to put things in here. And I like to even like try to bullet things. You know, this is your opportunity to tell people what you have done and, you know, what you accomplished when you're at this job or what you're doing right now. Don't put the name of the company in your title and how long you've worked there. Actually go in there and put some information on here. It's really, really important for people. If they want to take the time to connect with you, they want to know what you have done. And this is all keywords too. So go in and, you know, utilize this part. Don't just put I work here or I worked there. No, that doesn't tell people anything. And I wrote on your little worksheet, there's a little bit of information in there. Again, write it in, you know, write it in first person if you do, you know, write in here, like, you know, my position was created for me, blah, 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 blah. This is all good stuff. Okay, so now the next section we're going to go into oh wait, I got to get out of here. We're going to go and get your education section, fill all this in, you know, do what you can. And then you've got licensing or any certifications that you have, fill that in. Projects, are you working on any projects, or have you worked on any big giant projects? Put those in there. They're you know, people want to see what you're working on or what you've done, especially if something is notable. Volunteering. This is I work with so many people across the board that don't really understand the value of volunteering or what it means to other people. So let me definitely put your volunteer work in here, whether you're a student, whether you're a nonprofit, you know, whether you're a for-profit business. What you do out in your community is very, very important. We, you know, when I used to help with a lot of hiring with companies, we would hire people based on some of the volunteer work that they did, because they were, you know, maybe they were really involved with dog rescues or, you know, involved with homelessness. And those were organizations that we already, you know, supported. And we would be like, wow, let's get this person in for an interview. And so just things like that. You never know what is going to appeal to someone, or even if you're trying to brand yourself out there, the things that you support and the things that you are involved with might connect with another person. And you might instantly, you know, be able to reach out to them and say, hey, let's have coffee, because, you know, we both are, you know, supportive of this nonprofit. So really, really important. And don't discount it. Absolutely do not. How much time do we have left?
As much as you want.
Oh, okay. No, that's not true. Okay.
You're okay. You're okay with time. You've only been on for 30 minutes.
Okay. I mean, I can see my time. I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Good.
So now we're going to talk about skills a little bit. And skills section used to be called endorsements, and they've changed the name, which is actually good. But I wanted to show you how this looks. And it's got a completely different look on here than it used to. If anybody, you know, was on LinkedIn for has been on LinkedIn for a little while, like I have, it looks completely different. So what you want to do is, well, let's look at this first. So as you're putting your skills in, you basically just type and see what comes up. And then you click on something. And then from here, it tells you where do you want to attach this skill to with all the things that you have on here. And you can attach it to all of these, and then that skill will show up in that category, if that makes sense. This is all new, and I find it a little bit confusing, but I still feel like LinkedIn is trying to work this section out. Industry knowledge is under skills as well. But you know, so what LinkedIn originally did with this, they kicked off skills and endorsements and expertise. And I think it was done poorly. And I think they realized it was done poorly too, because what they did is like, I would put skills in there, say I put marketing in here, and then it would shoot out to my contacts and say, hey, do you want to endorse Cindy for marketing? And of course, the people who knew I did marketing would say yes. So I would get these endorsements. So I ended up with lots of endorsements for certain things. And the endorsements then became, helped optimize your profile. So it helped optimize me with marketing, helped optimize me with social media, you know, public relations, things like, you know, so when people would search for me, my profile would come up towards the top because I had all these endorsements. So the problem with that was that people were endorsing people for things that they didn't really know that they did, and LinkedIn took that away. And they haven't really replaced it with anything. I still think this is an important section, but you don't really see the endorsements, which is probably a good thing. Like, you know, you don't see things like this, that with like 99 plus endorsements for things. So, but I do think it's good to utilize this and fill it in and have the information in there. The other thing I want you to understand is you can reorder things. So if you have a lot of endorsements, okay, let's say, let's look at LinkedIn training, for instance. Say if I want to be known more for like LinkedIn training, let's say, if I can find it, what happened to it? Anyway, let's just grab, oh, here it is. You just grab this little thing here and you move it up to the top. And then that reordering of it pushes it out more. So it's, if that makes, I mean, it's very complicated that the way that they have it now, but you reorder your skills on what you want to be branded, what you want your brand. So as you're filling these things in, make sure the important things are up at the top. And I have to go through here every once in a while because things sometimes get pushed down to the bottom. And but this is important. It's just I think it can get a little cluttered sometimes, so we just have to be a little careful of that. Does anybody have any questions on skills? Because I think that could be a whole class actually. You good? Okay. Recommendations, and I want everybody to think about recommendations. I think recommendations I still think they're great, and you can give them and you can receive them. And when you get into recommendations, you can ask someone for a recommendation and you can give a recommendation right here. So when you ask for someone for a recommendation, you have to be connected with them on LinkedIn. And it basically, it'll ask you to search for the person, and then it'll say, it kind of walks you through the different steps. And when it walks you through the different steps, it then will send a message to that person who you're connected to on LinkedIn and say, will you send give a recommendation to so-and-so? And I think when they get it, then they can either choose to do it, or obviously they could ignore it if they wanted to as well. And I think giving recommendations is very good. It does not have to be someone that worked directly for you. I want to stress that, because there's a lot of people who think, oh no, I can't give a recommendation to someone because they never actually worked under me. If you volunteered with them, if they were on a committee with you, any type of interaction with someone, you could, and they did a great job or went above and beyond, you absolutely can give them a recommendation. So don't hold back from that. And if you feel like, you know, you want to encourage someone to give you one, don't hold back from that either, because I do think that's important. This is a way for people to show your character and your credibility, your work ethic, things like that. And this is, you can do the same thing to other people. Keeping that in mind, if you give someone a recommendation, they actually get encouraged to give you a recommendation back. So keep that in mind as well, that so, you know, it's important to, and this is another way to keep in touch with people. They does anybody have any questions just on the recommendations?
I don't see any.
Okay. Awesome. I want to say something else on that. If someone asks you for a recommendation and you're not comfortable with giving the recommendation, don't do it. Just ignore the request. And it's okay to do that. If you can just ignore the request. They're just asking you. And then if you're on the other side of it, where you've requested someone for a recommendation and you don't get that recommendation, don't get slighted about it, because first of all, maybe they didn't see it. Second of all, maybe they didn't feel comfortable doing it. I actually have had a couple of people who contacted me and said, hey, or if I asked for a recommendation, they said, will you write something up? Which I always feel, but you write something up and let them okay it. I actually had another person, this was years ago, write a recommendation for me. And she just did it really quickly, I think. And she had a bunch of typos in the recommendation and it really bothered me. So I never posted that recommendation. And I didn't even ask her for the recommendation. She just did it, which was very kind, but it was so full of typos that I really didn't feel like it represented what I wanted. So, you can control what you want on here. That's, let me see if I can show you that real quick too. See, you can, right here, there's this little button that you can turn off if someone sends you a recommendation that you're not comfortable with, or for whatever reason, you can just turn that off. That button used to not be there. So I think it's important for you to know that there's a lot of ways that you can control what your profile looks like and control your brand on here. So, okay. So when you go through this and you've added all of those things that we just talked about, and including the keywords and the sections that we talked about, then your profile will be optimized. And when it's optimized, then you will be found on Google. You'll be found when someone looks for things on LinkedIn too. So when you're, we talked about being active on here. Being active means that you can share, but you can also just like things. A couple times a week, it's nice to go on here and be active if that's all you got. I also want to show you, something that I use quite a bit. And I think this is another encouragement to get a LinkedIn paid account. It's LinkedIn Learning. And I use this a lot. And you can go in here and search for almost any content. So let's put something like networking. And then you've got these little videos that you can watch. And there's a date next to all of them. So you can see, what they're about. You can click on them. And, I like to, like this says it's a very popular one. They're rated as well. So, you can go in here, click on them and watch these videos, and you can even share them with other people too. I've used some of these videos in some of my LinkedIn training classes at Milligan, because some of them are really short and they get the message across way faster than I can get it across. Guide to Ultimate Professional Networking. That's a pretty long one, but a lot of them are just really short like this, like 15 minutes. You know, you can put almost any topic in here, which I find fascinating. There's videos out here for almost anything. I do a lot of nonprofit work. You know, you can go in here and look up different, you know, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in here. There's almost any subject that's business related is going to be in here. This is one of my favorite things about LinkedIn. And I think it's a paid account thing only. I don't actually know that for sure, unless somebody looks it up and tells me. I really don't know. But I highly recommend LinkedIn Learning. And so we can get out of that now. Okay, so I'm not out of it yet. Hold on. Go back. Okay, LinkedIn does that now where they open a bunch of different tabs too. Okay. Any questions here at the end? Because we're closing up. You know, we went over things really, really fast, and that's why a lot of times people will follow up with me, you know, personally, and I'm fine with that. It's no problem. I'm looking to see what things I've missed. No, I think we're good. We got everything on this list. Any other questions?
Cindy, we have Elizabeth was wondering where we find the LinkedIn Learning tab.
Okay, Elizabeth, go up to business and then click on that, and it's going to be down here at the bottom. Now, are you looking for it now? Do you have a paid account? Okay, so you see it. I was going to say, if you don't have a paid account, I want to know if you still see it, but you said you saw it. Okay.
And then one other thing, I'm not sure if you're able to help with this question or not, but we had a local Airbnb person come in to our office here yesterday, and she wasn't able to sign up for this class because she had a previous appointment.
Okay.
But she said she had a 25-year-old LinkedIn account that got hacked, and she had notified LinkedIn but hadn't received any response. And she was kind of wondering if maybe you might have some advice or what she should do.
No, it's not really. Was it a business account or was it a personal account?
It was probably a business account, but she didn't say, but it was
Okay.
25 years. So there was a lot of, you know, history in there.
I know. LinkedIn is pretty good about responding. I think they tell you they'll respond within 4 or 5 business days. I have connected with them many times about things like that. You know, there's really not anything I can do about it. Obviously, they have to go through the proper channels. They could, I mean, they don't have any access at all. They got locked out.
That's all she mentioned.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So
I just
what
thought
I
I'd
usually
ask the
tell people,
question because
I tell people if they can log on to their social media account, they can immediately try to change the password. But if they can't get logged on, then that's, you know, the other thing I was going to say, and this is something I get all the time. When you have a business account, make sure you're not the only one on the account. Make sure you have, you know, 1 or 2 other people that can help you run or manage that account, because if something happens and someone hacks into that account or someone leaves the company, this is what happens most of the time. One person opens up that account, that business account, they leave the company and they take all the credentials with them and you can't get into it. So make sure that never ever happens with any social media, but the LinkedIn business profiles are the same. Don't let just one person manage it. I mean, they can be the ones actively on it, but make sure there's other people that have access to it. That is very, very important. It doesn't have
That is helpful, Cindy, because even if somebody stole my identity, like this lady said, then it would still be, would you still be able to log in if you had, like if Jean were on the account, or would they have changed it?
If it's a business account, yes, she probably can. Not always. It depends on what they've done to the account, but usually someone else can get in there. Because if you're the originator of it, that's the owner of it, that's the person that the hackers usually go after. and they don't think of the other people necessarily. So it's, I see it all the time. People contact me all the time. I mean, really 2 or 3 times a week to help them with their social media accounts that have been hacked. And I mean, it's bad. And I think it's really bad right now with there's just too much stuff going on out there. So we have to be careful. And,
Yeah.
and you know what, no one asked this question, and this is a question I get all the time, is who do you connect with? And I say connect with people that you know or know of, and don't accept connection requests from people that you really don't know. That has changed. You know, my opinion of that has changed in the last 3 or 4 years. And where I used to just say you can connect with anybody, I don't believe that now. If you look at that person, especially if they're from a different country, and we just need to be careful. We just need to really, really be careful. And I used to be connected with a lot of people from India and China, because when I worked at Eastman, those were a lot of our places that we had to work with people. And I don't do that anymore. And I just go in there and figure out why they're trying to connect with me. The other thing, there's a lot of salespeople out there who just want to sell you stuff. So be careful of that too. Let me show you something else really quick. I can do this by going into someone else's account. So let me pick on my son-in-law right here. I don't know if he's still on the call or not, but he was in here. So if I wanted to, if this person was someone that I didn't want to be connected to anymore, I would just go to the more button here. I can remove the connection. I can report and block. And I can unfollow, whatever you need to do to, you know, to get that person out of your profile. Report
Jay
and
said,
block.
"Oh no."
I'm just picking on you, Jay. I'm not blocking you or reporting you. But just don't be afraid. Like if you know, if you need to report someone to LinkedIn, because they're, you know, I've actually reported people before for things that they've done. They don't know that you've reported them, and you just, you know, get rid of them. You know, at the very least, you know, you can block them if you don't feel like reporting them. So, but don't be afraid to utilize that. Sorry, Jay, I'm just picking on you. I would never do that. Okay, any other questions before we wrap up?
No, I think that more button, that save to PDF, and some of those other options, those are good options.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that didn't even exist a few years ago. So I think they're finally getting smart. So like if you were actually hiring someone and you found a profile that you liked and you wanted to share it with some of your coworkers, you could just go in there and click that and share that profile. You know, you know, and I'm one of these people too, like when companies hire me to do some research on hiring people, if they don't have a LinkedIn profile and they're applying for a business position, especially a marketing or anything like that, I'm kind of like, well, why don't they have a LinkedIn profile? So that's kind of like weird to me. You know, how can they be in marketing or business development if they don't use that? So that's not a red flag. It's just like, I don't understand. But you know, the search capabilities within LinkedIn are pretty incredible. Go ahead and, you know, use your search capabilities. Here, did y'all know that you have a LinkedIn profile, right, Kathy?
We do. I have to say that I've been remiss and I have not worked. I was starting to feel guilty when you were talking.
Yeah. Well, let me know if I can help you with it.
Yeah.
But these are the kind of things that, you know, every business, every nonprofit needs to have their own company profile. And they're pretty easy to set up, but they're set up differently. Don't set it up as a person. That is just like sometimes you see that on Facebook where they don't set up a company page. They set up an individual page instead for their company. That's wrong. And you miss out on a lot of analytics and a lot of data that you can utilize as a business.
Yeah.
And,
so if you have, so Liz Povar says she'd like to have a session on setting up and maximizing a business profile.
okay.
And
can do that.
so, and we need some more marketing classes. So maybe after January,
Let's
from
do it.
January to June, we'll do that. If you are a salesperson, and I don't necessarily mean, business to business sales as much as just you work in a corporation and your job is corporate sales. Is it good to have you wouldn't set up a business profile in a situation like that because it's not your business. You would just try to network with everybody in your field, or
Yeah. So an individual can only, a person, me as Cindy, can only have an individual profile. If I represent my business, I would have a business profile. So it's a little bit confusing, but it makes sense if you think about an individual has an individual profile, a company has a company profile. And so what you would do if you're trying to connect with people, you're going to connect with them as a person, not as your company. And you're going to send messages and you're going to send connections. Businesses can't connect with people, but people can. Does that help?
yeah, that does help. And so, one of the marketing questions I have is, do you feel like it's better when you're posting to post knowledgeable tidbits to help boost your audience and not tidbits like I am this and I do that and I,
Yeah.
is it better to post for instance, small business development, which is what we do, little tidbits about how we can help you instead of who I am.
Yeah. And sometimes it's nice to do a little mixture of both. So I like to do, like probably 75% of tidbits to help people, or and then like the other 25%, maybe your accomplishments.
Okay.
And so that it's not just I did this, look how wonderful I am, look what I did. There are profiles that I do. I totally agree with you that sometimes I look at it and I'm like, oh, I'm so sick of this. It's like, it's just, look at my accomplishments, look how wonderful I am. But if you're helping people, especially in your situation where that's what you do, you'll want to put that out there. And, look at, this just came up on my, it's a LinkedIn Learning, working with difficult people, so who couldn't use that, obviously. But it's things like this that LinkedIn Learning can provide for you that you would be shocked at the information out there. This guy just shared this basically. So and he didn't even do this course, I don't think. He just said this was a game changer for me and shared the course. So I think that, like, you can even do simple things like that. Up here on your feed, over on your right side, is LinkedIn News. LinkedIn will feed you stories that every day, that you log in, you can go through these really quick and look at them and see anything that's important to you. And then here you go, here's your share button that you can just share it. So it's helping you, right? Feed you stuff. So as you get on LinkedIn, and it's very intuitive, it will watch what you follow and it will watch what you like, and then it'll feed you stories according to what you already are kind of liking and doing it. That makes it easy for you. So all this is way easier than it used to be. We don't even have to think about it that much anymore.
So just for information, what is the cost of a business profile?
Well, it depends on what you want. So there's, if you're into sales, there's a Sales Navigator, and there's a Sales Navigator. There's a Sales Navigator Lite. I have a business profile, and I'm actually, LinkedIn gives me a pretty good discount. And I think I pay like $200 a year for mine, which I think it's double that now. But I was one of the first users of the business profile with LinkedIn, and they actually grandfather me in every year to this lower rate. And I don't know why they continue to do it, but I'm thankful for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it's more like $400 a year. Elizabeth, can you answer that question? Is it like 4?
She says
She
she
said,
pays
yeah, just did.
$250.
How
I think
much?
my last was 250.
$250 a year?
Yeah,
Okay. And do you
Yep.
know what profile you have? What?
no.
No. Okay.
I know
All right.
it's
That's
just
fine.
different.
That's
I mean,
fine.
I know it's a business profile, but
Okay. Good. Okay. So,
Kyle says he pays $40 a month.
oh, so he goes monthly. Okay. And you just have to look at it and see. And, monthly is actually not a bad way to go, especially if you don't want to commit to a whole year. It comes out at the end a little bit more expensive, but if you don't want to commit, I know when my husband was getting out of the Navy and he was really looking at this for job placement, he did a paid account for just 6 months or something like that and paid monthly and really worked his LinkedIn and got out there in front of people that he was looking for a job and it worked, and it actually worked. That's how he got, he was found on LinkedIn for his job that he has right now. So LinkedIn actually found my oldest son, and on his he got approached by a company that was an unknown company, and they wouldn't tell him the name of the company. And he went to an interview. He flew to Atlanta and went to an interview and had to do all these all kinds of Python and these writing, the data that they use. And he had to do all these testing, and he kept calling me and saying, I don't know what's going on. And I kept telling him, don't do it. Well, the company ended up being Google that hired him, but they just wouldn't come forward. And it was through LinkedIn.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah. So there's, I kept telling them to back out of it, that it was shady. Little did I know. But anyway, so there's opportunities out there, and there are lots of people out there using it for different purposes. But just like anything else, it can be used for good or for bad. So use it for good.
So
But that
does
kind of wraps
anybody,
it up. If anybody has any questions afterwards, you can certainly message me and I'll follow up with you. And definitely connect with me if we're not already connected. I know I'm connected with a lot of you guys already, and I appreciate you being here. And I appreciate Kathy and Jean and Billy for inviting me.
so Billy sent me an email and said that she was having internet connection problems.
Oh,
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to, sometimes people get way too over the participant's head, and they get lost in the information, and you've always done a great job of helping folks through the platform itself. Thank you, Cindy.
oh, you're
Cindy's been
welcome.
a friend and a partner with us since we started the New Knowledge Program in 2014. And we saw her at Celebration of Life for Sandy, and she volunteered to help us keep this program going. And we certainly appreciate everything that Cindy has done and is willing to do for us to keep this program going. Jean, do you want to tell everybody what the next New Knowledge is?
Yes, so the next New Knowledge will be September 18th, and it's going to be led by Letterpress Communications. And the topic is Back to Basics. Do I have a strong digital foundation? Those on our VHSBI website, you can pre-register through our events page. The flyers will be going out from various organizations. You can sign up through those as well. But if you want to pre-register today, you can go to our VHSBI website homepage on the events tab.
Well, thank you all for continuing to be interested in our topics. Thanks, Cindy, for stepping up to the plate and helping us out again. And we're going to schedule Cindy again in 2025. If you have any questions, like she said, you are more than welcome to connect with Cindy, and she will help walk you through the questions that you still may have. Thank you so much, everyone, and we will see you at the next New Knowledge session.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.